Hey, welcome to the second course for the song Morph from 21 Pilots' 2018 album Trench. Yes, things do look different because I did not film these on the same day, okay? But hey, I still have camo on. Just switched it around, all right? All right, so we are going to jump in. Oh, by the way, I'm musically malnourished. You're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. This is where we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So let's hop in and give it a look. All right, I officially signed up for Genius now. Like, just clicked the button and logged in. But you know what it did? It moved the About section. The About section used to be nice, big, and bold right here. No, I can't even access it that way anymore. So it's over here on the side. Here's what it says. Morph is a fast-paced track mentioning changing into someone you're not and the idea of what happens after death. Tyler's morphing refers to the various characters and personas that he has used during his career. Blurry face, a vulture, a prisoner, etc. He describes morphing as a defense mechanism, mode, or shield for the deeper existential themes of the song and 21 Pilots as a whole. The song lyrics were released when an Australian fan bought the CD from a small music store, which had released the album prematurely. She then posted photos of the album booklet days before the album release. All right, I'm sure we're going to be clicking into the annotations a lot on this one. So we're going to hang on this side of the screen, and I'll try to keep the lyrics above us. Can't stop thinking about if and when I die. For now, I see that if and when are truly different cries. For if is purely panic, and when is solemn sorrow. Interesting. And one invades today while the other spies tomorrow. We're surrounded and we're hounded. There's no above or under or around it. Goodness gracious, dude. Let's just finish this first section and we'll go back. For above is blind belief, and under is sword to sleeve. And around is scientific miracle. Let's pick above and see. For if and when we go above, the question still remains. Are we still in love, and is it possible we feel the same? And that's when going under starts to make my wonder, probably starts to make me wonder. But until that time, I'll try to sing this. Ooh, boy. Under starts, no, it shouldn't be to make me wonder. Yeah, and that's when going under starts to take my wonder. Let's just confirm for ourselves here. I'm sure that it is. There's no way that people have seen this and not double-checked it. This is third track. That's when going under starts to take my wonder. Yeah, I would assume this idea of like your wonder, your awe, your childlikeness. Man, when he was going through this song, I was like, dude, it all sounds great, but I don't know what you're talking about. I can get the idea, of course. Okay, let's just take these one at a time. This is going to be a lengthy one. Just as all of us do from time to time, Tyler ponders his own mortality. All this thinking has taught him that if the possibility he is going to die is a completely different matter than when the definite he is going to die. To believe that there's a possibility that we will never die is an irrational yet understandable and all too common response to a human being's greatest fear. It is a rejection of the inevitable and a classic case of denial. Okay? When implies the realization and acceptance of one's own mortality. With this acceptance comes many troubling issues, such as the question of morality and the meaning of purpose and life. Yeah, so I guess the only challenge I had is with the if. Because if, I don't understand why that would create panic. because I just don't know many people that think that we won't die. Now, obviously, as a Christian myself, I believe that as the Bible teaches, this life is but a breath. It's a vapor, is what the scriptures say, because in the span of eternity, it does. Gone. It's so fast. I mean, all of us can look back and just be like, oh my goodness, feels like yesterday that so-and-so or that this happened. And so, but it doesn't seem like that's the direction that he's going, because if is going to create panic, because I would think the when would create panic. The knowing that you're going to die, but being uncertain as of when. And so I don't know if I'm looking at it a little too literally, but I can understand. It's obviously these two ideas of looking at death. I totally get that. And the when is this solemn sorrow. It's this acceptance that it's going to happen. In this whole line, one invades today, the other spies tomorrow. But yeah, I'm struggling with the if. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get some more context as we move through, or maybe I need to pull back and look at it. So if you have a better explanation for this if and why he would use if, then let me know in the comments. We're surrounded and we're hounded. There's no above or under or around it. So yeah, just this idea of death, that it's inevitable. For above is blind belief, and under is sword to sleeve. Tyler lays out three main circles of philosophy: theism, humanism, and nihilism. First, he explains theism, the belief in God. We could go above death by putting our faith into higher powers that claim to have defeated death. Tyler Joseph's Christianity here serves as an example of going above death. However, even faith is burdened by a lack of proof, and trying to go above death involves some amount of blind belief. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we normally classify it as a blind belief, but here's the thing about faith. Let me go off on this for just a second. So Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. And so, in Christian belief, faith is not just woo-woo, it's not pixie dust. We believe in the reality of the God of heaven and earth. He created all things. He's all wise, all powerful, all loving. He's just. And so the idea of faith is we don't believe that we're just kind of like, faith is based upon a person. It's an evidence of something I can't see, but there is an evidence. Faith is the evidence of things unseen, the substance of things hoped for. So it's interesting because hope is kind of like, it's hope, but there's a substance to it. And we base all of this on the teachings of Christ, on the teachings of Scripture, of who God is, that he's true to his character. And so if I have faith that he'll provide for me, it's not just this like, it's like, no, I the same way I would trust a person who's come through, who's true to their word, you kind of have to put a faith on that. If like I as a father say, hey, I'll be there. Now, I'm imperfect, and there are situations I can't control everything, which is why I'm careful to make promises to my children. I try to do the best that I can, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to do my best to be there. But God is not bound by those things, so he can make those promises. And so having seen him be faithful in my own life, having the testimony of Scripture and how he came through in those ways, I build my faith upon his character and who he is, and that God is not a liar. That's what scriptures tell us. He's not a man that he should lie. And so, but at the same time, I do understand just that idea and even the creative license of a blind belief, because we are told that we live by faith, not by sight. So in some ways it's blind, but it's not. If we're talking about the realms of Christianity and faith, is it's that I've seen and that I know, and so therefore I have faith. Okay, let's hop back into this. Second, he explains humanism, the belief that humans have no limit to their power. They can attempt to find a way around death using science and medicine to try and circumvent the process of death altogether and work towards immortality. However, it would take a scientific miracle to achieve this end, Since miracles are inherently unscientific and therefore constitute an oxymoron, this option is painted as an impossible path. Okay, so above, under, okay. Hopefully it's good. Yeah, okay, sword to sleeve. Finally, Tyler explains nihilism, the belief that nothing ultimately matters. He describes this as going under. Though ambiguous, this phrase may imply succumbing to the power of death by taking of one's own life or by giving up the fight in general. Sword to sleeve is a phrase that means to surrender. Okay. It comes from the idea of placing one's drawn sword back in its sheath or scabbard, also sometimes called a sleeve. Gotcha. Okay. I don't know why I didn't put that together. In the view of nihilism, when one goes under, they could simply give up on life. This too is an inviable option. The phrase may also refer to living a life of evil, giving into the dark power of damnation, or embracing some sort of black magic in order to achieve immortality. Demon, Satan, hell, however, are based in faith as well. Wow. Dude, it goes deep. So, okay, cool. With us having this idea of above, let's just say faith in God, under is a surrender, and around being a way to try to cheat death. Let's pick above and see. For if and when we go above, the question still remains. Are we still in love? And is it possible we feel the same? And that's when going under starts to take my wonder. Oh, maybe like I said earlier, take my wonder. I wonder if he's, I wonder. Oh, I wonder. I wonder. Sorry. I feel like maybe wonder is not like stealing his wonder or his all. I feel like it's like the entering of his mind, to take my wonder, to draw my wonder, my thoughts, my wondering. That's what I think it's saying. But I'm curious about this. Are we still in love? Is it possible we feel the same? The entire song is about change or lack of it, the possibility and certainty of death. Here, Tyler is talking about going above, conquering death, going to heaven. Is it possible we feel the same? Many Christians nowadays profess a belief in Jesus that is supposed to raise them from the death of sin and give them new life. However, many of them don't show this change in their lives. Tyler could be asking if Christians are truly in love with Jesus, the one who saved them, and if they really changed. He begins to wonder if it's possible for saved Christians to feel exactly the same as when they were unsaved. This leads him to wonder if maybe Christianity isn't the answer, as seen in the previous line. When he says if and when we go above, implying uncertainty, he doesn't want to go around, so the next option is to go under. This most likely means giving up, as the phrase sword to sleeve is similar. Okay, choice of language here, however, could also imply self-harm. So for if and when we go above, the question still remains. So if you did go above, are we still in love? And is it possible we feel the same? Man, I don't know. This language is still a little cryptic for me. Because, yeah, I mean, I can understand what the annotations were saying, and it's true, you know, that's what's unfortunate. And not that any of us claim to be perfect, but the part of following Jesus is carrying the heart of Jesus, and that is one of love. Now, people define love in different ways. Love doesn't have to be an acceptance. If you love someone close to you, and they're ruining their lives, you're not just like, yeah, whatever, I love you. You're like, hey, I love you, but I can't support that. And so that's when going under starts to take my wonder and make me think. But until that time, so like in the meantime, I'll try to sing this. If I keep moving, they won't know. I'll morph to someone else. What they throw at me is too slow. I'll morph to someone else. I'm just a ghost. I'll morph to someone else, a defense mechanism mode. It is interesting, you know, because in my youth, that was 100% who I was. because I didn't really know who I was. And the same as it is today, I still have a wide interest in things. That's part of starting this channel. I like to try new things. I don't have a big aversion to risk. So stepping out and doing something, and I've built different abilities and skills over the years, mainly because I was always curious and wanted to see like, oh, could I do that? Could I try that? But when I was young and didn't have a real understanding of who I was and what I desired and who I desired to be, and that came later after having a relationship with Jesus and him helping define that and build my character and give me a foundation to stand on. But when I was young, man, it was just like, oh, these guys seem cool. So I'd go get interested in what they're interested in and kind of change my personality and the way that I dress and the way that I talk to be a part of that group. And that led me into a group that was, experimenting with drugs and doing all kinds of stuff. And so I understand to an extent there's like that negative side of morphing and just changing based on where you're at and who you're around. And that can be a very negative thing if you don't have a central sense of your identity, because then you're just different things to different people all the time. But I think there's also that side of it that's like, you do act different ways at different, you act different at a funeral than you do at a wedding. And it's not that you don't know who you are, you just recognize the setting that you're in and you take on certain behaviors based upon that setting. And so that's a side that it's not a negative thing. It's just part of existing. But this is interesting in the side of like becoming somebody different. Tyler's being both mentally and physically chased down in the fictional city of Dima, which here's the thing I'm trying to do as well is I think that Tyler, I know he's trying to communicate still the same messages that 21 Pilots has always been communicating. Now that Dima and this lore has entered, I still want to view his songs and his writings through the lens of the messages he's trying to share. Because I don't think he's just trying to create an epic fantasy just for that sake. I think it's probably fun and exciting, of course, very creative. But part of it is it's allegory, right? The same as like Chronicles of Narnia, is an allegory. There are messages all throughout that book. And so I'm trying to make sure that I don't get so lost in the lore, but let the lore continue to drive the message. And so in the fictional city of Dima, Tyler's getting prowled on by Nicholas Bourbaki, aka Nico, and the Niners, a group of bishops in Dima. They all worship the fake idol of, ironically, fake neon light. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So if you've seen some of my other videos, especially the jumpsuit video, you probably have already commented and been like, you're way off. You're so wrong. I don't know why I thought Nico and the Niners were part of like the resistance crew. So correction on that for me here. Tyler talks about the neon lights in both Neon Gravestones and Bandito. It was and still speculated those lights are Tyler and his brain. He could also be getting chased down in his mind. Tyler has talked about his struggles with depression and anxiety before, which can be represented by the bishops. He thinks he can avoid all of it if he changes how other people see him, and that will solve these issues. It's his defense mechanism. It's most likely trying to say that his plan when he has depression and edema in real life. So if I keep moving, they won't know. I'll morph to someone else. What they throw at me is too slow. I'll morph to someone else. I'm just a ghost. I'll morph to someone else, a defense mechanism mode. I mean, it sounds more like in a positive light here, not necessarily changing who you are, but continuing to evolve and change and keep moving forward. He'll always try to stop me, that Nicholas Bourbaki, or Nico. He's got no friends close, but those who know him most know he goes by Nico, and he told me I'm a copy. When I'd hear him mock me, that's almost stopped me. Well, we're surrounded and we're hounded. There's no above or a secret door. What are we here for? If not to run straight through all our tormentors, but until that time, I'll try to sing this. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Nico and the Niners can obviously represent just a form of evil, tormentors working against you, that they'll try to stop you, tell you you're just a copy, mock you, and that makes you want to stop. You know, you're nothing. You're not good enough. What are you even doing? Imposter syndrome type stuff, right? Like, why do you even think that you can do better? Why do you think you can lead that? Why do you think anyone's going to listen or anyone's going to care? And there's no above. There's no secret door. So really, you've got to run straight through the tormentors. You've got to push past that. That's really interesting. Lights, they blink to me, transmitting things to me. Ones and zeros. Ergo this symphony. Anybody listening? Ones and zeros. Count to infinity. Ones and zeros. Morse code is transmitted by beeps or blinking lights. Binary code is transmitted with ones and zeros. Since they are code, they can't be understood by an average person. Tyler's saying he sees something that other people can't see, and that's where he gets all of his original ideas from. It's similar to Socrates, Daemon, an intellectual spiritual force which Socrates said communicated to him the truths that set him apart. Granted, Socrates was eventually killed for preferring the wisdom of his daemon to the accepted dogma of the Athenian pantheon. Similarly, Tyler frequently, and in particular on the tracks Ode to Sleep and Chlorine, discusses his tortured relationship with his creative process. It is at once a cathartic release from the ephemeral pain and suffering trapped in his brain, but it also forces him to face that pain and suffer that encounter as if it were poison. Wow, interesting. So lights, they blink to me, transmitting things to me, ones and zeros, ergo this symphony. Okay, so here this song comes. Count to infinity, ones and zeros. I'm surrounded, I'm hounded, no above or around it. Okay. That's a really interesting thought. And it is true, you know. If you're going to translate pain into purpose, if you're going to take your stories and make them your ministries, your weaknesses, your failures, the things that were done to you that you didn't ask for, and you're going to turn them into something, a story that can help others, a song, a sermon, a book, there is that pain of having to sit with it, listen to it, put yourself back in that place, and that can be scary, right? But what comes out of it, hopefully, is healing, not only to yourself, but to others. I love this part. Not done, not done, not done. Josh Dunn. It's awesome. Oh, man. Well, hey, I knew this album was going to be a challenge. So thanks for being with me. Thanks for being patient with me. In the end, you know, we'll do things to ultimately bring everything together, but I like working through it. I like doing it live with you guys. So thanks for working through it with me. Feel free to leave me comments in the comments. Feel free to talk to me in the comments. And thanks for being part of this one. Hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.